Welcome, everybody, to this lovely webinar, Stop Striving, Start Allowing, as we look in the direction of living miraculously in 2026. Some of you already know what living miraculously is. Some of you might be coming here for the first time to just explore and discover what the conversation's all about. Well, we just would love to welcome you. Dominic and I have been exploring this subject probably over the course of a decade since we got to know each
Mhm.
other back in 2016. So we were both on Super Coach Academy together, and out of all the hundreds of people that were part of that incredible program, Dominic and I just connected and we stayed connected and we kept connecting. To the point that we began to have mastermind sessions together every Monday. And over time, what we didn't realize was that the mastermind sessions that we were engaging together were actually starting to form something that we could uh, bring forward to share with the world. And so we started offering one day workshops online, and we started offering a few other offers to just bring people into the conversations we were having. And eventually, in about 4 years ago, I was at a place in my business where I just really wanted to experience something new and something fresh. I'd gone through the loss of my partner, Francesco, very suddenly. He died. And Dominic was of great support to me then, continuing to have our mastermind conversations together and continuing to point each other in the direction of truth. And it was on a lovely trip to London that I really got the download. Wow, Grace, you're living miraculously. You're really living miraculously. I really felt that my life was miraculous, even though I'd been through a great hardship. And it dawned on me that that was, for me, Spirit's way of downloading the next offering. And immediately, with great excitement, I called Dominic and I said, Dominic, what do you think? I think there's something here we could offer an audience and people that are following our work. And he was straight away supportive and delighted. And we can't believe it. Here we are 4 years
Yeah,
later. We thought it would be an
yeah.
8 week program, didn't we?
I know we thought it was like our other stuff. We had this idea, we'd offer this program, we'd do the program, people would participate, and we'd be on to the next thing. But this one was different. For some reason, as we were in the midst of it, it was all of a sudden a whole thing around people saying, "Well, this isn't going to be over, is it? You are going to do this again." So then it eventually turned into, "Well, we'll offer it again, and we'll offer it again." And so 4 years later, there have been 1,000 participants in Living Miraculously from more than 30 countries. Many of the participants, about half of them in every program, come back. They are people who have done the program before and they're getting such value from it, and then they come back and do it again. So I don't know if we can get out of this conversation, Grace, but so far I'm not feeling like I want to. So we'll just keep exploring as long as people are wanting to explore, and as obviously as long as it's alive for you and I, because that's
Yeah.
the thing. Every single time this is alive for Grace and I, and this webinar is no exception. The
Mhm.
webinar is because this is alive for us too. We're coming to that part of the year, right? Like we're going into a new year, it's 2026, and the conversation just starts to be around, yeah, well, now I'm going to get serious. I'm going to get serious about my business next year. I'm going to really get focused on my health, and I'm really going to and you can tell, like, that's where this idea of resolutions and goals start to come from, and you can tell in the energy of it, people getting serious, getting really committed about the thing that they desire and want, and you can hear the effort in that. You can hear the tension starting to build in that. And Grace and I were talking, and it's kind of like, my God, that is completely what comes in the way of the miraculous. Like,
Mhm.
life is miraculous. That's not like you don't do this course. Like, we're not offering a program to show you how to make life miraculous, how to create miracles. Like, it's ridiculous. Life is miraculous. We're interfering. We're interfering with life being miraculous. And it's not really interfering, but we're kind of interfering with it being miraculous for us in our own experience. And one big clue about that interference is when you start to feel effort. This is going to take some hard work. This is going to take a real commitment. Going to take a lot of effort to achieve this thing that I desire. And the truth is, miracles do not take effort. You cannot achieve miracles. Miracles are happening all the time. Miracles are simply allowed. And when you're not in the way of them, when we're not in resistance to them, and the resistance, by the way, is indicated by the feeling of stress and tension, then when you're not in the way of them, miracles can flow in the direction of all that you desire.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, Dominic. Even for us to be in the conversation and re-listening, hearing this again and again and again, just anchoring in the truth of how life really works. And how loved are we? How loved are we that we have a system designed to give us feedback in the form of stress and striving to let us know when we've moved away from home, when we've moved away from the miraculous. Like that's what I love about this is that we're so taken care of. And part of our going forward into 2026 is to realize how well taken care of we are by life. We forget to ask, we forget to notice. And sometimes innocently, our minds are going so fast and so furious that we innocently end up taking on the reins, if that's the description, or taking on the steering wheel and kind of pushing life's help out of the way. And that's when the problems really occur. So, this conversation and this exploration is always an invitation back home, always
Mm,
an invitation back to the support, the spiritual support that is available for us in anything and in every moment. And the more we move and get out of the way, the less resistance we're applying and pushing up against, the more those miracles can just flow, the more our lives flow, the more our well-being flows.
mm,
We are made to be that way. We've all just learned that effort and stress and striving and hard work is more noble or more the thing that we humans are supposed to do or engage.
mm,
But when we know what we know, and most of you know what we know, right? We're all exploring in the same direction here. When we know what we know, we can't keep living in that experience of push and stress and tension. We know that that's not where it's at. And so,
mm,
for any of you here right now that are sensing that or feeling that or have been in that, and listen, we fall into that too. Don't forget, it's an innocent habits of thought that bring us back into that. But for any of you here that are even just a little bit curious of an easier way, a lighter way, a different way, Well, we hope that what we share will support and guide you.
Yeah. The thing the we we look at this from the perspective of really just exploring what's true. That's kind of what we do. We explore what's true. So um because the idea is that, we don't need to tell you what to do. You don't need to do a program to tell you how to live your life, to tell you how to, achieve the things you want to achieve. We, if we explore what's true, then we live according to our understanding of how life actually is, how I am, how life is. And in a way, you say, well, we're always living according to that understanding. We're always living according to that understanding. And when our understanding is in harmony with the reality, the true nature of how life is, then life is easy when our understanding is in harmony with the way life is. Life is easy. When our understanding starts to differ with the truth of the way life is, its true nature, it begins to get bumpy. And so that's where when we talk about effort, effort becomes necessary. It seems, it appears to be necessary in the presence of resistance. So, in the presence of any kind of resistance, now you'll need effort. So, I want to get fit. I want to, well, that, well, absolutely. And you can move in that direction effortlessly. Well, it's not that easy. Oh, tell me about that. Well, it's not that easy. It takes work to make money. It takes doing things you don't want to do to get fit. You have to um, uh, eat in a way that's not even enjoyable if you're going to get fit. So now what we just introduced is thoughts. My own thinking has come into play. At first I said, "Oh, I have this desire, this thing I want." And life will effortlessly move you in the direction of all that you desire. And then we add in some thinking. Well, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of work. And so we begin to bring in, and by the way, everything I'm saying, some of you are saying, so, well, what's the big deal? He's just telling the truth. This is the really funny thing about thought. Thought never looks like thought, it just looks like the truth. So I said things, like, well, healthy food does not taste as good as the junk that's very tasty. Well, some might hear that and go, well, that's just true. So we don't even recognize it as a thought or a belief. But when I hold that thought or that belief, and I don't even recognize that it's thought or belief, it's just the truth that I have to deal with if I intend to become fit this year. If I intend to make money this year, that's just the truth I have to deal with. And the minute you do that, you introduce a resistance. And that resistance will take your effort to somehow overcome. So basically, it's really funny. We just put a barrier up, and as long as we're thinking it and holding the barrier in front of us, some way, somehow, we're going to have to get around this barrier. And that is going to take effort. And none of that was required by life. We just did it ourselves.
Yeah, I love that, Dominic. I mean, we don't always notice when we're living that way, but again, we can notice, we can just really pay attention to the feeling we live in each day. And what I've noticed in our program over time is that the more we're looking in this direction, the less tolerant we become of anything but ease. That's not a bad thing. When we're looking in this direction, we're not trying to get better at managing stress and challenge and striving. We're wanting to really have that become quite intolerable to the point that it's not something that we're willing to just live in all day long. What's so beautiful about this particular time of year and part of the year is, as Dominic said in the opening, people are looking in the direction of what's next or what they'd like to create or achieve. And part of our Living Miraculously program, the very first week of our program is dedicated to looking in the direction of true desire. Looking in the direction of true desire versus resolutions or things that you think are missing. And whether you join us for the program or not, this will be of help to you right now, because tomorrow being the 31st of December, you can really have a look towards, well, what is your true desire? What's coming up for you that you would love to see a miracle around, or you would just love to experience a whole other level in that area? And a true desire is quite different to a fleeting thought because a true desire has a tendency to keep tapping us, has a tendency to becoming more from a download than a thinking something up is a good idea. I've often shared in our group that, desire comes from the Latin desidere. And if you look at the root word of desidere, it means from the Father. So we can trust that our desires are coming from above, are coming from the source within us, that are there to be expressed. We become expressions of God walking this earth. We become expressions. We allow ourselves to follow that desire. And each of you will be receiving your desires in accordance with however spirit wants to express itself through you. I have different desires to Dominic and vice versa. He sees the world in a particular way and I see the world in another way. Well, that's just our unique expression. And wouldn't life be boring if we all had the same desires?
Hmm.
But the reason we start week one of the program with True Desire is that we've just noticed that many people are not always very connected to what their true desire is.
I'll
They're
do.
they're quite connected to what's missing. We're easily kind of focused on what we don't have or what we don't want. But when we begin to shift our focus and look in the direction, well, what is the desire that is wanting to be birthed through us now?
Hmm.
What is coming into form now? Then that is the starting point of any miracle. That is the starting point. We
Hmm.
now have the momentum in relation to what it is we're wanting to bring through in the world. And
Hmm.
only you can bring that through.
It's yeah, and that's another characteristic where it's unique to you. So our true desires are unique to us, and and it's so related, really, to this thing about effort, because a true desire, and again we distinguish this. A true desire is distinct from what you think you want. Desire is distinct from what you think you want. What you think you want is often in it's often created to deal with more thinking. It's just In other words, there's other thinking you've had, which now is in the way. And then what I really want is more money because I put some other thinking in the way that now I can't resolve and it's sort of stopping me. And the solution would be money. So what I think I want is more money. And so it's distinct from what a true desire is. And a true desire has no in order to. So you have no in order to for what you desire. It just is. And so that's why it's I think it's funny that we have two bonus recordings. It's just kind of occurring to me now. We cover this in the program, right? We cover about true desire and we cover about money. However, interesting to me is we've had to do entire workshops just on these two topics. And we've now included them as these bonus recordings. So there's like a 2 or 3 hour workshop that is true desire, and then another workshop that is called Beyond Money. And it's interesting because this idea of what you think you want is very apparent when it comes to money. Money is always in order to. Always, always, always in order to. It's never your true desire. What would you do with it? Imagine piles of it. Imagine getting more of it. I think I want it. I think I want lots of it. Just imagine it just piling up around you. What would you do with it? It is not what you want, it's what you think you want. And that is distinct from true desire. And therefore, when you go after what you think you want, there is no energy behind that. There is no soul energy behind what you think you want, because what you think you want is some convoluted thing that you only want because you want something else. And so when you look at that and you kind of go, well, why do I want that? It begins to go lower and deeper. Why do I want that? Goes to, as Grace, when you said desire, desidere is, and you said there's a translation which is of the Father. Well, there's an energy which is, we'll say, you're not, nobody here is living and breathing themselves. So where's this energy coming from? What is this energy that animates you, wakes you up, lives and breathes you? It comes from some place. We'll say it comes from your source. That is the source of your life. It's the source of life. And so that energy comes uniquely through us. These words aren't important, but that unique energy through us could be a label, might be like a soul or a spirit as it moves through us. And there's something to know that without desire, there is no life. There is no life without desire. Without spirit wanting, having a desire to live uniquely as you, there would be no life. Without spirit wanting to uniquely express itself physically as you, there would be no life. So what you feel as desire, what you desire, is that energy wanting expression through you. And part of the issue is because, well, I want to write. I want to paint, or I want to travel. So you can feel it. It's natural. Grace and I always laugh because Grace has this thing, like she likes fashion and she likes luxurious places to go and all that, which is unique. It's a unique desire to her. But the moment that desire comes and you go, yeah, but I can't because I don't have the money. Yeah, but I can't because I have to work and therefore I don't have the time. Yeah, but I can't. It's all of a sudden an interference being introduced, which is my own resistance. And now I start to make it hard. And this is, I could be on the path of miracles, like just watch it unfold. If you could just align with a desire and allow it to move and inspire you without resistance, without thinking against it, it would take you on a path of miracles that would surprise and delight you as it unfolded to its own fulfillment. But the moment you get in there with our little mind, say, well, how's that supposed to happen? Yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened yet. How's it supposed to happen then? And that's the interference and the conflict. And now effort is required and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, it's never going to work and it's never going to be miraculous. So,
So let's open up here. Is there a are there questions? Can we make this relative to your situation? Are there comments? Are there
yeah,
anybody like to come
sharing
on and
anything.
share? Claire, lovely to see you. Come on, sweetheart.
Hello. Happy New Year, just about. Um,
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
what this is just an observation really about um following following the small nudges and how that seems to make me more able to follow what feel like bigger nudges. You see what I mean? So for example, on Boxing Day, Bruce went off to pick his son up from his mother's house and I went for a walk. And I got to a junction in the park where the route right would take me home. And this voice said, no, have a longer walk this morning. So, but then the voice very quickly came in and said, oh, no, you haven't got time to do that. You need to go home and start preparing the food and empty the dishwasher and blah, 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 blah. And I thought, no, bubbles to you, I'm going for this walk. And I ended up on this longer walk, ended up round near the supermarket, which I had no intention to go to the supermarket. I didn't want to go, it was just a longer way round to do a walk. As I was approaching the supermarket, I remembered that we'd forgotten something that we needed for the meal we were making on Boxing Day. I got to the supermarket at the minute the doors opened. Literally, I arrived and there was this very traditional British queue outside Asda of people. You're all going to buy a different number of things. Why are you queuing to get in the supermarket? So of course, I joined the queue because I'm British too. Got into the supermarket, got to the shelf where the thing was that I needed to buy, and just above there was one thing left of another thing that was helpful for the meal. So I picked that up as well, and I got to the till. You're gonna love this, Grace. And the cost was £2.22.
Oh, wow.
So I got the 222 as well. It was
Brilliant.
almost like the universe was going bing, 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 bing. And I just followed that. But I think what I'm seeing about that, so that is more and more with the little things. I think it's so important to follow those little things because if you don't, you're almost, I don't know, sometimes I'm trying to articulate in a way that makes sense, but you're almost saying, oh no, universe, don't bother to talk to me because I'm far too busy in my head doing my life. Don't interfere. And I think the more I kind of accept those little nudges, I feel like more bigger nudges seem to appear. So here's the question though. Sometimes with the bigger things that maybe are to do with my business, I hear them and then I don't do them. Like maybe because they feel too hard or I don't know. How do I get more ease around things that feel bigger? I realise the word bigger is probably the problem, but I'll leave that to you guys to smash through.
Well, first of all, stunning that you are in conversation with life. As everything you were saying, that's what I was hearing. You know, you're in conversation with life, and you know, what an incredible shift from just being in conversation with habitual thinking to now being to now somewhat having space from that, or ignoring that, or noticing that that's not wisdom, and then redirecting yourself to being in conversation with life, following the nudges. That is such an incredible progress, Claire. It really is. And Claire's been with us in Living Miraculously and been on our retreat as well. And I just want to acknowledge that brings me a lot of happiness to hear that shift, because it is like a turning of the ship, right? When we've spent a lifetime tuned into the channel of Bob the drunk guy arguing with our wisdom. And so for you to be just even noticing and being in conversation, and then seeing your lovely triple numbers, we have fun in our program with numbers and signs and all sorts of fun things. But just noticing that, Claire, is very significant. And so I just want to say stunning to that. And then you start to see that life supports you. Oh, you end up in the right place at the right time with the right products still available on the shelf that you didn't even know you needed. We couldn't make that up with our intellect. We could do our best to time our run and be under pressure and have a stressful walk and get ourselves to the supermarket. But look at the way that you're just living miraculously. Oh, I'm going to follow my nudge to keep walking. And I just happen to arrive at the 1 minute before the door opens to the supermarket. And I just happen to find the things that I didn't even know I needed. That is living miraculously. There's no tension there. There's no stress. And you're doing something you enjoy, and you're still getting stuff done. People sometimes worry with us, don't they, Dominic? Oh my
Yeah.
God, does this mean I'm not going to be productive and I'm just going to sit around waiting for miracles? No, this is very practical. You begin to live your life in such a way that you have more energy for things to simply get done. And some of that will be your doing, but a lot of it will be what Claire described. Just happened to be in the right place at the right time at the right moment, because I went off and did the thing I was nudged to do first. Trusting in that nudge. And then the bigger nudges, and Dominic will speak to that. I'm sure, like those bigger nudges where you're feeling, let's say, a bit more resistance around, a bit more like you've got more Claire on it. See, like with the walk in the supermarket, you're letting God on that. But on your business, you've got Claire still on it. And so it's just so innocent that there are some areas that we bring more resistance to. And we bring a level of, oh, that's the exception. That's where I still need to take the steering wheel and do it myself. So let's see what opens up for you there. Beautiful share.
Yeah, I really love how the big things are the things where I've practiced a lot more resistance. I've have beliefs that I've been holding for much longer around these, and so now they're the big things. Oh, what do you mean? Groceries and cooking and getting items on sale or like that, or finding the last one. No, 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 I don't think about that stuff. That stuff is, I mean, that just happens. It's easy. I don't think about stuff like that. But my business, oh, I think about my business a lot. This is really, really important. I do think about it. Oh, so it's a big thing, right? Not like that. What about breathing? Do we think about breathing? Am I going to get enough air today? I wonder if I'll be breathing properly throughout the day. Generally, that's a big thing. I just don't think about it. It's a really big thing, and I don't think about it. And therefore, there is something, life, which moves that. and it moves it in a perfection. If I go for a walk or I run, my breathing changes. I've never even thought about it. I've never even thought about it. And it happens. And then it regulates back to a different state. And I don't even think about it. In fact, I hope you're not calling that a miracle, because is that what you're calling a miracle? Yeah, that's what we're calling a miracle, is the fact that it does that. And look at how important that is. Look at how important that is to the living of my life. Yeah, but I'm not talking about important things like that. I want to talk about important things like my business. I want to, do you see what I mean? We're like, so there's something funny about that. We're thinking about that. Suddenly we're resisting it enough that it becomes important. Why is it important? Because we're not allowing miracles, right? Through our thinking, we're not allowing miracles. So it's like putting a dam up, a block to a flow of life that would unfold the desire into its manifestation. But I block it with a thought and a belief. It's not easy to make money if do these things. That you got to do stuff you don't like social media and all that stuff. And right, so if we put that up, and I can't get motivated to do it, I'm always procrastinating, and I'm always right. So it's a dam goes up where the energy can't move you, and suddenly it becomes big and important. It's a big thing, right? So hope that's helpful. Thanks for the
Thank you.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really helpful, both of you. Thank you
And
so much.
and Claire, just since you're on, just real quick, for people that are listening who are thinking of joining the program, have you got a few words of your own experience? Why
Yeah,
join?
well, this January will be my 4th time, I think. And I'm going to be honest here, the first round, I did not get it at all. I was like, what's all this about? But then after Dominic had been to Viva, I then gave it another shot, and yeah, it's something then kind of landed with me. It's just such a lovely exploration, and it must be good, because not many things I've done for anything I've done 4 times, so that's a pretty good sign. And I signed up as soon as you offered it to returners, so as soon as it came, I was like, I signed up without even thinking about it really. It just was a no-brainer to come back again. So
We look forward
highly
to
highly
seeing you
recommend
again.
it to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be good to see you again. Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Hey,
Shall we
Joe,
go? Yeah, let's go to Joe.
come off mute.
Sorry, I was just, yeah,
Yeah.
my phone was being stupid. Um, yeah, I wanted to ask you about the bigger things. Um, my daughter is currently in hospital, like a special unit, because she's got an eating disorder. So she's been in there like 7 weeks. Um, and she's 23, and I've got an 11-year-old as well who is currently ill, and has been since Christmas Day, and it's probably stress related because yeah, because of everything. And I'm okay, like I'm handling it and it's fine. Well, it's not fine, but it's like I'm nowhere near as stressed as I would have been a few years ago. That's what I mean. Um, but it kind of is still a lot and it's hard. And I just kind of wondered if you had any words, basically.
Mm, I can't imagine that dealing with what you're dealing with. So thanks for sharing this, and thanks for bringing something so real and important to the call. Stress, overwhelm, worry, like all of that, which I'm just assuming there may be some of that in this situation, right? So all of those kinds of emotions are indicators of personal thinking floating around the whole topic, right? So, and when I say personal thinking, it's a kind of a thinking that is coming from a finite personal intelligence, my own intelligence, the things that I know. And I mean me, little me, this me, and the things that I know and things I don't know and whatever. And how am I going to fix this, approach this? What am I supposed to do in a situation like this? So the feelings, the turbulent feelings, disharmonious feelings, I'm going to call them, feelings that don't feel good, right? They are the indicator that I'm engaging with lots of that thinking. So, and for good reason. Like, if my daughter's in the hospital, I'm going to be worried. Like, I'm going to be like, how's this going to turn out? Like, what's going to happen? And or it keeps happening or something like that. So it hooks my attention into some thinking and wraps me around it, sort of takes me for a ride. What we point to is so by the way, it makes a lot of sense that I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I should do in these situations. And what we point to in Living Miraculously is, but do you think it's known? Do you think it's known? And Joe, for you to do something that may be of benefit to one daughter, or you to do something or to be in a certain way that's of benefit to the other daughter, you may not know, but do you think it is known?
I know it's known. I'm just
It
scared
is
that my
known.
thinking gets in the way.
It is known. What gives you a sense that it is known? You might not
Uh,
know it, but it is known.
yeah, I've heard you talk often enough to know that it's known.
So, because there is whatever is living and breathing you, that when you eat something, it can digest it, release chemicals in your body, remove nutrients, and feed the cells and organs. Whatever that is, that kind of an intelligence, not the intelligence of me wondering about what I'm supposed to do, but that kind of an intelligence, does that intelligence know? And you are not separate from that intelligence. That intelligence is infused in every cell of your body. It is vibrating through you. It's the thing that's waking you in the morning. That energy, that intelligence that knows, is what's living and breathing you. So not only is it living and breathing you, it is also nudging and inspiring you to do this, say this, go over there, put your hand on her shoulder, do this, say this. That intelligence knows. So when you're simply moving with that intelligence, it leads you toward what you truly desire, and it leads to outcomes that are miraculous. They're literally miracles. When I try to figure it out, nothing miraculous happens.
Joe, also just recognizing the difficult circumstance you find yourself in, and just honoring your own need for oxygen. I'm sure as a mother, trying to give oxygen to everybody else is probably what you're usually doing or used to doing. But the situation you find yourself in is also what occurs to me is an invitation to really take care of you. A letting go of trying to keep up and in asking all upon your own spiritual support system to guide you, to take care of you. Dominic is beautifully pointing to this intelligence within us. And this intelligence that is within you can help lighten the load and lift the burden you're experiencing right now.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Joe. And much love to you and your family. You're doing great.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. That was very
Yeah.
courageous. Very courageous. Dominic, we've got some more hands up. Before we go to Laura, did we want to make a mention of what's coming up? And then,
Okay.
Then we're happy to keep going with
Right.
whoever would like to connect.
Yeah, perfect. We have, well, I think everyone, sorry, and I just want to make sure I get a link. I should have probably prepared a link, but anyway,
Yeah.
so our program, our Living Miraculously program, is an 8-week online program. There are 6 sessions in it, and then there's a couple. So 2 of the sessions or 2 of the weeks we call integration weeks. So the program is fairly experiential. We do conversations where we take a theme every week and we explore it. And you'll see this on the website how we approach it. But we also have these fun exercises or different assignments. Yeah, that's how we call it. We call it assignments. We give you here's your assignment. Should you choose to accept it? And we give you this thing to go off and experiment with or play with. And like Grace had talked, for example, we'll say like ask for a sign or look for a sign. This becomes an assignment. And Claire had spoken about how she saw 222 or as the price of something. So we take these things and these are like signs or it's like a communication from the universe. And of course, we're playing with this, but it's really a lot of intention to try to get attention and focus on miracles that are happening all the time. And so instead of trying to, teach you or convince you or tell you that life is miraculous, it's like just pay attention. So we use assignments where it's like pay attention, start to look at this and then see what happens. See what you notice about this because your own life experience will teach you the miraculousness of life. And so that's Living Miraculously, 8 weeks. It begins on January the 12th. Until Monday, we have an early bird. The program is $299, but we have an early bird so you can sign up for the program for $199. And if you're a past participant, of course, email me. You can always redo this program at half price. So email me. I give you the link for the past participant. But if you're someone new, there's an early bird until Monday, and you can do the program for $199. That's 8 weeks. Every session is 90 minutes. And we include bonus recordings. They're available right away. And then just the final thing about this, if you're thinking about it, you don't need to think about it because we also do a satisfaction guarantee. So you can sign up for the program, participate in 2 of the sessions, and that will tell you immediately whether there's any value or not for you, whether this is something that resonates or not. And if it doesn't resonate, you just get your money back. So you just email and you'll get a refund, no questions asked. So we tried to do it so there's nothing to think about. I will put a link for the early bird price so it's automatically applied. I'll put a link in the chat.
And we have lots of people that retake, Claire was one example, 4th time, and part of that is just, being in this conversation, we're always exploring from a new level of consciousness. So, you may be seeing the same subjects each week as we've done so since the beginning, but we're really exploring from a different level each time. So do feel free to come in and explore from a fresh level, from a fresh perspective, and to even just experience that other level of consciousness in you. I'm always amazed at what Dominic and I learn every time we go through this. You know, it's a whole other world, even though it's the exact same title and the exact same week by week format. And finally, there will also be a retreat this coming May 2026. We will have a Living Miraculously retreat in Spain, and you'll hear more about that too. If that's something that interests you in relation to being in person, not just online, again, you can email us and we can give you the info on that. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you just around the corner on January 12th. So let's take some more questions, Dominic, shall we?
Yes, thanks. Laura, go ahead.
Hey, it's nice to see you
All
both.
right.
I've previously done the program for anybody who's thinking about going, and yeah, it's an amazing experience. So, yeah, like obviously, I posted on the Ask and the Facebook group. I can't remember the full name of it. Sorry. At like the end of April, just about my like 10-year relationship ending, and I think this has felt really this kind of what I learned from the program, but also just spiritually. Like I listen to a lot of like Michael Singer stuff, and have found um a lot of like I don't know, like trust, I guess, like trust in life. That's like the word that comes up for me around this. But I think that also the thinking is so the thinking is so ingrained, right? It's so like I think what's been felt really present is like I need to figure out what I'm gonna do next. And there's this like response to this loss and this like what has felt like like a loss of identity, I think in the biggest way. Um and feeling like I don't have an identity anymore, and that's felt really scary. And I think that I've been following those like impulses, and I've had some amazing experiences. Like I've met some amazing people, um, reconnected with people like that I haven't like really seen much of, and made like new friends, and that's been amazing. But I think also then I still have those days where it just feels like the grief is so huge, and it just feels like today was one of those days, and it just feels like I don't know, like I just feel really lost, I guess, like in those feelings. And I have like there's somebody like new that I'm dating, and we're very much like on the same page that we don't want like a serious relationship, like we're just like enjoying each other's company, and that's been great. But I find that like these days especially, that there's so much thinking that comes in like about that connection, and about like I don't know what it is, but it just feels like there's those parts of me that just still are feeling understandably like very afraid and very vulnerable. And I guess it's just I don't really know what I'm asking for, but like it's helpful to just talk about it, and especially in a community of people that like think about things in a different way, I suppose, than like maybe like to some people that I have in my life. Um, I think it's just I have this feeling that like I know that life is gonna do what it's gonna do, and I know that like my life is gonna be like amazing. Like I feel that, like I really believe that. But like, but also like when I have these days, it's really hard to see that. And so maybe there's something about like on these days, how do you hold that? Like, how do you remember that
Mm,
that this is just part of the journey, you know?
mhm. Well, great start in that, the realization of it, right?
Yeah.
We're experiencing, whatever has our attention in this moment. But so,
Yeah.
so I'm feeling whatever I've given attention, wherever my attention went and engaged and stayed. That's what I'm
Mm,
feeling. And as I engaged and stayed attention to that, it became more and more and more. I and um wake up one morning. It's so funny. We wake up one morning. This recent in the past few days, I will wake up here thinking how lucky I am to be in this beautiful home with the way the light comes in. There's no window coverings anywhere. It's complete privacy all around, large windows, beautiful views, right?
yeah.
One morning this week, I woke up going, I wonder if there's ice at the end of my driveway. Last night, I went down and I could see it was kind of slick. You know, it's probably a puddle down there. More than a puddle. Why didn't it drain? Think that, and it's some sort of an indent. It by today it might even turn into a bit of a lake. How are you supposed to get in and out of a lake like that? How do you even fix something like that? How much money is it going to cost to fix something like that? I can't believe I live here. What's this going to cost to do? Now, you tell me, what do I do about that? On the days that I wake up like that, what do I do about that?
Drop it.
There's nothing to do about nonsense like that. Now, why am I calling it nonsense? The reason I'm calling it nonsense is because of the feeling.
Mm,
Life does not talk like that.
mm,
God does not think that way. When God looks at how I live and where I'm living, God has nothing but appreciation for what there is. God feels, looks in appreciation at this life and the possibilities of this life. When my thinking attaches and I give attention to thoughts that harmonize with the thoughts of God, that's what it feels like. When my attention accidentally, innocently happens to hook onto some kind of nonsense, it will not feel like that. It will feel horrible. And
yeah.
the more I'm interested in it and the more I stay there, well, I better phone around and find out what there is and whether people can fix this or whether I can just go deeper and deeper into something. And the feeling keeps telling me, back off. This is nonsense. Back off. This is not the thought of God. These are not intelligent thoughts. Back away from this, right? But when I don't and I innocently stay engaged with it, pretty soon I've got problems
Yeah.
and my mood drops. So the feeling is always indicating.
Yeah. And Laura, like I really connect with your experience, I really feel for you in that sense of, you've been in a couple and there was an identity there. What is that? Well, there were thought forms. There were thought forms together. And then the breaking up or the loss of someone, you're innocently then kind of breaking up with the thought forms that you had created together, some of which were fabulous and some of which were you probably won't miss at all, right? I think what's important to see is here is days like these where you wake up and feel the grief, what I really began to see through the journey of grief was there weren't days like that. There was my state of mind in a low mood.
Mhm.
And in a low mood, the grief was loud. What was the remedy? I had to take really good care of me. I had to start to see that the grief was an indicator that I was exhausted mentally. It wasn't an indicator that something awful had just happened and that the loss or breakup of this relationship meant the end of me. It was always an indicator that I dropped in consciousness. And when we drop in consciousness, the best we can do is just take care of us. What does that mean? I don't know. Your wisdom will guide you. I noticed that I had to sleep a lot more. I noticed that afternoon naps really did become a thing for about 8 months. I noticed that my wisdom would guide me in ways that were aligned with my values, that give me a little of an uplift, you know?
Yeah.
So rather than see it like out of our control and we get days like these, or we're at the mercy of our loss, you really just want to see that our mood drops, our level of consciousness drops. And when it does, the flavor of our thinking changes. And it usually changes in the direction of whatever it is we are up against. Don't worry, the elevator of consciousness will go back up. And when it does, the flavor of thinking you get about your relationship, about the breakup, will be very different.
Yeah.
Remember, we can't control the thinking that comes in, but we can notice if we're using our thinking in a way that is helpful or hurtful. Okay? So be gentle with you. Does what Dominic and I share connect at all?
Yeah. And I did that. I did exactly that. I asked myself, I had a recognition that there was a separateness between me and how I was feeling, even though that felt like the tiniest little thing. And I was like, what does Laura want to go and do now? Like, what do I want to go and do today? And I went and got the train into like a nearby town and went and walked by the river and like, yeah. So it was like, even though it was really heavy and big, there was a sense of like, there was something inside, that was a storm that was like happening, and I just was, even though it was really, really painful and difficult, there was still a sense of like, that wasn't me.
Wow. Yeah, you've got space there from the noise in your head. That's your grounding, cushioning you through
Yeah.
this loss. Just honor that the level of grounding you already have is cushioning you through this difficult moment. And our grounding cushions us through any challenge in life. Our grounding is there to support and cushion us through any blow. That's why time is not the great healer when it comes to loss. Love is the healer.
That's beautiful, Grace. Thanks, Laura. Thanks for
Thank you.
sharing and bringing that.
Thanks, Laura.
And thank you, everyone, for showing up and participating, and for your interest in the program. We love this exploration. That's why we keep doing it. And if you heard anything in it and resonated in any way, we invite you to join us. We're going to explore anyway. As Grace said, we were doing this before we ever offered a program, but so if it resonates with you, please join us. We'd love to have others on this exploration as well. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for today, everybody. And don't forget, there is a lovely Facebook group, Ask and It Is Given. And I'm sure most of you are in there, but we can certainly carry on responding to any questions you might have about the program or otherwise over in the group.
I
All
put
right.
the link in for that. So yes, if you
Fab.
had more questions, I have the link to the Facebook group. You can ask questions there, or reply back to one of these emails, and we'll help as best we can. Awesome. Look forward to
Okay.
see many of you in January. Thank you.
Happy New Year. Lots of love.
Happy New Year. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.